Okay, so for this deep dive, we're starting somewhere. Well, somewhere very specific and very English.
The weather.
Exactly, the weather.
Yeah.
January 1961, we're talking about a freezing fog that just, completely blanketed England. A real pea souper.
You can almost smell it. That mix of coal smoke and damp wool, it's so evocative.
It is. And it's not just a weather report, right? It's the perfect backdrop for the story we're getting into today. It's this suffocating atmosphere where the really mundane, sort of restrained post-war British life just smashes head on into the high-stakes paranoia of the Cold War.
And that chill, that fog, it wasn't just literal. It was the whole national mood. What's so fascinating when you look at the sources like the newspapers from that time is how the really big news was almost, well, hidden.
Hidden how?
Well, you pick up the Times. For Monday, January 9th, 1961, the front page is just dense with tiny classifieds, births, deaths, marriages. Very domestic, very restrained.
Right.
The real story, the one that would blow the lid off this huge Soviet spy operation, the Portland spying, it's just slipped down on page 6.
Page 6.
Page 6, tucked away. It was the perfect reflection of an era where everything important was kept quiet, clipped, understated.
And that contrast, that collision between the domestic and the dangerous, that's really the heart of our deep dive today. We are going to unpack the famous spy case, for sure.
We have to.
But our mission here is also much more personal. We're looking at a stack of sources that layer all that historical fact, the surveillance reports, the court records over one person's memory. Specifically, the story of a daughter, Anna, who spent decades trying to figure out the truth about her own mother's secret life.
A life that was so clearly shaped by that very specific Cold War silence.
Exactly. So we're going to explore how one of the biggest espionage cases in British history got tangled up with one family's very private, very suppressed tragedy. It's a quest for a truth that was buried for decades.
And as she discovers, the secret is far darker and much, much older than just the Cold War.
So let's start with the hard history. The moment the fog, lifted just enough for MI5 to make their move, the arrests.
Right, the timeline is crucial. The headlines break on Monday the 9th, but the action starts 2 days earlier, Saturday, January 7th.
At Waterloo Station.
At Waterloo Station, around 3:20 in the afternoon. Two people, Harry Hooton and Ethel G., step off a train and right into the thick of that miserable fog.
And they have no idea they've been watched for months.
Absolutely none. This was the culmination of a massive surveillance operation. Hooton, this balding guy in his 50s, and G, who everyone called Bunty, a sort of friendly, unremarkable spinster. They just look like any other Saturday shoppers.
Blending right in.